what a nap. Well, hello out there. My name is Mark Allen, and welcome to Oh Little Town of Bellingham, where we love our park. Welcome to Waypoint Park. To my left or to your right is our very famous acid ball. However, to my right and to your left, you see a vacant piece of land behind the fence over there. On our journey here to Waypoint Park, I'm going to make a brief little rest stop to tell you why you're only seeing a piece of vacant land over there and not a proposed condominium building that was supposed to have been there. So come along with me and enjoy.
O beloved parks of Bellingham, may we take the gifts of your beauty and pass that gift of beauty in this time of strife to the people of the world. And now we're leaving beautiful Cornwall Park in Bellingham. We're coming up to Meridian, which is quite busy, but let's wait for that traffic signal to go green. And there we go. As we cross Meridian, we're entering Squallac Way, a very, very gentle downhill from Cornwall Park to the waterfront. As you can see, and by the way, this is during a weekday, it is fairly light traffic. And as you can see also, there are adequate bicycle lanes. Coming up on us is an overpass, which by the way is Northwest Avenue, but please look carefully to the right as we pass under that overpass. You will see a trail going off to the right. Right there. That is a foot trail that parallels Squallac Way and then goes up towards Squallac Park. It's a bit rough for bicycles unless you have fairly wide tires. The neighborhood to your left is the Columbia neighborhood. To your right is the Birchwood neighborhood. Also coming up to the right, it's hard to see it, is Squallac Creek Park. We will be crossing a small street, and by the way, there's the footpath joining us again. This small street we're crossing now is West Street. That will take you to your left up the hill into the Columbia neighborhood. Again, the neighborhood to your left. Continuing along, as you can see, extremely gentle downhill. Of course, that means a very gentle uphill in the opposite direction. Now, that overpass you see ahead is Eldridge Street, which turns into Marine Drive further north. Now, that railroad trestle you see is for the Burlington Northern Main Line. We ask that you please do not climb onto that because it is very busy. Now, welcome to Rotor Avenue, and we're getting into a better marked bicycle lane. Rotor Avenue, which parallels Bellingham's waterfront frontage, has had several improvements made to its streetscape. First of all, we now have improved the striping for the bicycle lane in both directions. Now we still have to stop and very carefully cross this railroad spur, which by the way is the only active railroad spur on the waterfront these days. Well, coming up on your right is the marina and other waterfront activities managed by our Port of Bellingham, which is the subject of my story. Once upon a time, over 2 years ago, on a cold, rainy, nasty evening, I showed up at the Port of Bellingham to televise a Port Commission meeting to talk about a condominium development as part of my duties as a reporter for Bellingham Television. I showed up at that building on the right wearing my colorful clothing under a large dress-style transparent plastic raincoat. One of the attorneys for one of the developers asked me sarcastically, "Why are you wearing that transparent plastic raincoat?" I said, "Sir, I have a fashion fetish for wearing colorful clothing under transparent plastic dresses. When I was in college, I would show up at all of the gay and lesbian dances wearing my colorful clothing under my transparent plastic dresses, and by gosh, I was the most popular queen on that floor. All of the drag queens would dance with me, and I was at the center. So folks, while we're having this meeting, do you want to join me and dance, and I will be your queen for the evening?" Well, that didn't go very far. Some of them laughed at with me, some of them gave me a high five. But here's the question. It is 2 years later. That development, as you can see on your right, has not even been started. Could the fact that a gay man who likes to wear clear plastic dresses over colorful clothing cause that development to stall for 2 years? If that's the case, then mighty strange things happen at the Port of Bellingham. Well, enough of clear plastic dancing queens and the Port of Bellingham. Let's move along. This green bicycle lane is yet another example of the streetscape improvements, which, by the way, I need to point out, this is a joint effort between the city of Bellingham and the Port of Bellingham. So yes, the port has done good things, including initiating new development on the waterfront, including that new commercial building on your right. They're involved in maritime manufacturing. I do need to point out that I cannot overemphasize the improvements to the environment for bicycling and pedestrians that have been made on Rotor Avenue. Now here we are on F Street. The building off to your right is the Technology Development Center run by the Bellingham Technical College. On your left, just past these two railroad locomotives, you see a building that looks like an old train station that used to be Bellingham's depot. Now the depot is down in Fairhaven. Now, if I'm not mistaken, yes, there it is, way up ahead. You can just see the famous granary building. But let's make a little pause before we get there. We are now on Watcombe Creek Waterway. In case you're wondering, those orange markers or the blue lights you see flashing on them are range markers. One is close and one is far. If the pilot of a boat sees them precisely lined up, they would know they would be precisely in the center of the Watcombe Waterway, which you can see here. When the Georgia Pacific paper mill, which was on the land on your right, was operational, this was a very, very busy waterway. We're crossing the Watcombe Waterway and we're going to turn right to head toward the Granary Building and Waypoint Park. But let's make a brief stop here and take a look at a map. The Granary Building is about where the letter T is on the word waypoint. The rest of the word waypoint is on a bit of blue that is the Waterway. The darker blue over the light blue is the Rotor Street causeway that we just rode our bicycles on. The downtown Bellingham is on your right, and parts of the waterfront can be seen on your left. So as you can see, we're very close to downtown Bellingham. The Granary Avenue you see right by Waypoint Park is a brand new street. We'll see it later on. Now here are some views of the work being done to the Granary building, which by the way, they now have some new tenants lined up, yet they still have space. I'm going to try to give you a peek inside to see how much work they've done to clean up this building. It was a mess a few years ago. A door was unlocked, so I opened it and poked my head inside with the camera and made these shots for a few seconds before one of the construction folks asked me to leave, which I did so. Now moving along on the concourse, we're going to head past the Granary building. We see the Waterway to your right. As we turn this corner, you can see the new park ahead with the side of the Granary building to your left. The new park does have a playground, as you can see. Very simple right now. It also has a rock beach, and there is some plantings that have been done, but please bear in mind this is brand new, so it is not fully developed yet. One of the favorite things with this park is this rock beach that you're seeing right here. That gives us nice fresh access to the Waterway, and I may very well put on my wetsuit and try swimming in the Waterway, maybe in a future video. We're now across Granary Avenue from the Granary building to show you a new feature of the park, and that is this dirt pump track for bicyclists. Now, I have to point out, it's a bit rough for me. I am, after all, a 66-year-old fragile man. So let's just settle standing here for the video, showing you the track as well as Seaholm Hill, the hill in the distance beyond the brick tower. Now, we're on Granary Avenue on the new bike lane, and that signal, by the way, the traffic signal, is the first one in Bellingham with a dedicated bicycle signal. We're going to turn right, and we're going to go up the causeway where the name of the street changes from Rotor Avenue behind us to Chestnut Street ahead of us. I'm riding on the sidewalk right now, despite the bicycle lane, because we're going to make a stop and have one final beautiful view of the waterfront, Waypoint Park, and the bicycle track, as well as the mountains beyond. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I hope to see you on the road. Come and dance with me, let's dance with the swaying of the trees and the crashing of the waves on the shore.